We'll be starting in just a few moments, just letting a few last latecomers arrive here. Okay, I think we're ready to get started. Thank you everyone for finding time to join us for today's webinar, which is Marketing to Your Customer Database. My name is Eric Nash, and I'm the Director of Online Marketing here at Stamps.com. Today's webinar should be about 40 minutes long or so, and then we'll have some time at the end for Q&A. If you have any questions, please type them in the question box. We have a team of people that will be trying to answer your questions in real time. If they can't get to your specific questions now, we'll be responding to you later today via email. Also, if you're having audio problems and you're using your computer, we highly suggest using the call-in number on your invite email. And if you're having audio problems on the phone, you may want to hang up and try calling in again. Webinars sometimes have some connection problems. All right, let's go over some of today's topics. We'll start with talking about why existing customers are so important to revenue. And then we'll go into email marketing, and we'll discuss how to set up a program and some email best practices. And then we'll move into paid search and how we can use the Google Remarketing program to reach our existing customers. We'll then talk about social media, and then we'll discuss some free tools that you can use to listen to your customers. And lastly, we'll discuss some tips and tricks for sending direct mail to your customer base. And at the very end, we'll have Q&A. Just a reminder, if you do have any questions, please type them in the question box. As I said, we'll have a team trying to answer them in real time, as well as for questions at the end of the webinar here. All right, let's first talk about why existing customers are so important. And to do that, we're going to look at the two methods for a business to increase revenue. Number one is to go out and find new customers. Every business has to find new customers to survive, and finding them is usually the job of your marketing department. You probably have ad campaigns to generate awareness of your company, and you probably also have sales team who are going out and calling on potential customers, introducing them to your product features, or starting the whole sales process for your company. All of us know that finding new customers is not an easy process, and ad campaigns can be very, very expensive. The sales cycle for new customers can take weeks, months, or even years sometimes. Plus, research shows that acquiring new customers is 5 times more expensive than retaining your existing customers. The second method to increasing revenue for your company is to market to your existing customers. These are people who've already purchased your product or service before, and they're familiar with your brand and customer service. You've already spent the money to acquire them as a new customer. These customers are the low-hanging fruit, basically, for helping to increase revenue. We have their contact data already from their previous purchases, so we can contact them very quickly with our relevant messaging. All right, since we've gone over why existing customers are so important, let's start diving into methods to reach them. Probably the most cost-efficient and fastest method to reach your customers will be using email marketing. Email campaigns are great since the turnaround time for setup can be just a few hours. You also get a ton of data points back to determine the effectiveness of your email campaign. So if you're testing a specific subject line or maybe testing offers such as a 2-for-1 coupon versus a 10% off coupon, all of your email opens, clicks, and revenue generated from that particular email can be tracked. And in terms of costs, email is really pretty cost effective, as you only have the email creative itself, and then you also have the email delivery system. So there's not a lot of costs involved. Before we get too deep into the email specifics, I want to take a step back and discuss the basics of sending email in an email program. Step one in the process is you need to get the customer's email address. You probably are naturally doing this already through your purchase transactions now. Most likely all of your people who are buying your product are including an email address, hopefully, and they're going into some type of database so you can contact them later. But there's also some other great methods. There's newsletters. You can add an email field on all of your pages, offering educational content or saying hints and tips and tricks for your product or for a particular service. Also, if you're a retail location, you could get emails the old-fashioned way by using a fishbowl for people to drop in their business cards to win a prize. And also there's lead generation. I'm sure a lot of you probably get a lot of lead generation emails or see banners and stuff online. They work great. Lead generation works great for a lead source and for an email source. People often offer white papers, free white papers, and product giveaways, or free trials, anything as a kind of a toe in the water to help get a person to provide their email address for you to add to them to their list and market to them later on. Okay. Once you have your email list created, the next step, obviously, is to start sending emails to them. While you could do this one at a time via your sales team or with your administrative assistants, the preferred method would be to send or to use a mass email delivery system. And there really are two main methods of mass email delivery, which are either an email service provider, which is commonly known as an ESP, or the second option would be using a hosted software solution on your own existing mail servers. Email service providers, or ESPs, are a web-based solution. They operate as a software as a service program where you basically log into a website, you upload your email list and data, then you insert your email creative, and basically you start your email program. The ESP interface allows you to run data queries and create separate lists and basically manage your entire email program from that interface. Your email data is stored on the ESP servers. This can be an important issue because some industries that have lots of privacy regulations or just lots of regulations, such as the financial industry, sometimes that could be a problem, having the data hosted on a different server. Usually when your new account is set up with an ESP, they'll provide a new IP address for your company, and they'll work to whitelist your IP address with Yahoo, Hotmail, Gmail, and the other email providers. Whitelisting is basically a process to help get your email delivered into the inbox and out of the junk box of the different email providers. It's a very important process, and it could potentially be a very tricky process. So the good thing about ESPs is they know how to do it and how to apply for your particular IP address to be whitelisted. The ESP program also manages all of your unsubscribes for people unsubscribing from your list, as well as hard and soft bounce management. For those of you who are unfamiliar with those terms, a hard bounce is an email address that is no longer active. So say you've moved and you're no longer even monitoring that email address, or even it's not even an active email address any longer, that would produce a hard bounce. A soft bounce is different in the sense that it's still an active email address account, but it's got some type of temporary problem with it. Could be the email has maxed out on its available space or file size, or maybe a person's put an out of office response on it and is not accepting any more email into their box. But that's just temporary problem. So that would be considered a soft bounce. The cool thing is that the ESP companies manage all those processes, and they'll take hard bounces and delete them from your list, and then they'll usually will mail to a soft bounce or to an email address and get up to 3 soft bounces before they delete that email address from your list. Some examples of ESP companies are Silverpop, Constant Contact, and Exact Target. And there's plenty more too. There's probably 20, 30 different ESP companies. A hosted software solution, the number 2 option here for sending email, is a software that goes onto your existing mail servers. Pretty much the software provides all the same capabilities as the ESP. The only real difference, though, is that the email data is stored on your server or uses your own accesses your database. So that's really the main difference. This is probably any type of financial company will probably operate a hosted software solution. One main difference also is that you'll have to do your own whitelisting process. This will operate, since you're operating on your own mail server, you're going to have your own IP address, and so you'll have to go through the process of getting that IP address whitelisted. An example of a good hosted software solution company is StrongMail. You can get information from them at strongmail.com. Both ESPs as well as hosted software solutions are great programs. They both provide detailed reporting on email delivers, on email opens and clicks, and do the unsubscribe management. One big difference, though, is in costs. ESPs are normally always cheaper since they don't require as much setup and technology added to your existing program. So ESPs are pretty much going to always be cheaper. One very important area to consider when you're evaluating ESPs is some ESPs will use a shared IP address. Again, an IP address is basically a domain that you're sending your email out of. And what happens is the shared IP basically will be used amongst many different advertisers. And if you happen to have a bad guy in that group of advertisers, and you're included in there as well, if that bad guy sends an email out and creates problems, maybe they had a bunch of hard bounces on their list, or they sent an email that was inappropriate or had a bad subject line, that IP address could get flagged for sending spam. And from that point forward, or for maybe a 72-hour block or a 7-day block, all the email coming out of that, including yours on that shared IP address, your own company's, could be sent immediately to the junk folder, or maybe even worse, it's being blocked at the email service provider, or the internet service provider level. So that's one real negative attribute to using a shared IP address. So we highly suggest when you're working with an email service provider to get your own IP address. Sometimes they charge a little bit more for that as well, but it's definitely worth it. All right, with the email, one very important area we need to discuss is the CanSpam Act of 2003. While the law is very lengthy, there are really 5 specific areas you need to pay particular attention to. The first one is accurate header info. This is something that the bad guys do. They basically use other people's connections and to send their spam via relays or other methods. Could be even just driving around looking for open Wi-Fi connections. This is something you probably won't have to worry about unless you're up to no good. The second area is subject lines. This is very important when you're testing, because as you start testing different subject lines, hoping to get better open rates, sometimes you can kind of lose track and maybe start to push the envelope a little bit on your messaging. So you need to really make sure that you're not providing false or misleading info in that subject line. Most spam court cases revolve either around the from or subject lines falling into this misleading area. So really make sure that you aren't doing any type of misleading information in your subject lines. The third area is a working return email address. The email address that you are sending your email from must be a working address. So if a person hits reply and types in unsubscribe, you're going to need to stop sending an email to them. most of the ESPs manage this whole process, so it's not a problem, but you really can't use any type of address that just goes to a black hole. The fourth area of the CanSpam Act we need to worry about is including an unsubscribe link in your email. You have to provide a method for a person to unsubscribe from your list. This needs to be both a link at the bottom of the program, or excuse me, of the email, as well as you're going to need to include a postal address in the email. So that way if someone wanted to send you a postcard say, hey, please unsubscribe me, you're going to need to react and take them off the list. The postal address aspect is something that doesn't happen very often. Here at Stamps.com we probably get 5 to 10 postcards or letters requesting people to unsubscribe. So it's not a really big issue, but it's mandatory. You definitely need to keep it in order to comply with CanSpam. And then lastly is in honoring these unsubscribe requests. CanSpam requires you do it within 10 days. So if someone's contacting you and is requesting to unsubscribe from your list, you've got to stop emailing them within 10 business days. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. And when I say in trouble, it's a pretty costly violation. So people who are not complying to the CanSpam law, each email that they send or is in violation is subject up to $16,000 fine. So, and when I say each email, if you send 1,000 emails out and all those emails are in violation, you potentially could have risk of upwards of 1,000 times 16. So it could be very, very costly. So make sure you pay attention to the CanSpam laws. Okay, we've talked about building email lists and how to send email to our customers. Now let's talk about what we're going to send and how often we're going to send it. Your content can be anything that you want to promote or sell. Things like new products, special sales, closeout deals, upcoming events, retail store coupons. Really, the sky is the limit when it comes to email content. I went through my inbox recently and grabbed some examples here, and you can see they vary from the iPad 2, obviously a new product introduction, to discounts with QuickBooks here, offering a special deal of 20% off. To upsell and cross-selling with HP, offering a free gift card if I upsell and buy more inkjet cartridges, and also coupons here. You can see that this is offering a coupon for a retail store, where if I print this coupon, I can take it into a supermarket, get $1 off of some cereal. So it really runs the spectrum here on what you send to people. All right, let's talk about email best practices here. Really, when it comes to frequency, the million-dollar question is always how often is too often. And I think the only right answer here is to constantly monitor your unsubscribe counts. Unsubscribing is really the only way for your audience to alert you that you're sending too much email. If you see that unsubscribe counts are going up, definitely slow down your email drops immediately. And really pay attention to the ratio of emails added to your list versus the unsubscribes you're getting on each email drop. You need to make sure that your email list is not shrinking faster than it's growing. So unsubscribes are really the key factor in determining frequency. And I would constantly analyze how many unsubscribes you're getting, because they also can help you with content. If you're doing a newsletter and it's just kind of boring content that nobody really seems as valuable, they'll tell you by unsubscribing to your list. Most advertisers would suggest 1 to 2 marketing emails per month as a best practice, and definitely no more than 1 per week. One really cool feature that email service providers offer is automatic frequency controls. So if the same name gets included on 2 different lists that you've prepared to send an email to in 1 week, the The ESP program will block that second email message from being sent to a person if you have some type of frequency cap of, say, 1 per 7 days. So that's a great feature the ESPs provide in helping you control how many contacts you're reaching out to your customers. Lastly, and probably most importantly, is you need to make sure to segment your data. Smaller, more targeted email drops are always, and I mean always, better than mass email drops to your entire list. And in order to segment, you're going to need to include fields from your including your emails, of course, but also other fields that you can run queries off of. Things like purchase behavior, geographical area, demographic type data. All those things are going to be areas to help you filter your email lists and create smaller but more targeted email drops. As an example, if you operate a golf store and you wanted to have a sale on women's golf shirts, your most effective email communication would be sending that email only to the ladies on your list that you know have purchased women's clothing before. There would be no point necessarily in sending it to the men on the list. So what segmenting does is it helps keep your costs low on the email delivery charges, as well as it helps keep your unsubscribes low because you're sending relevant content that these people hopefully are interested in. All right, let's go to our next topic for reaching existing customers. And that's going to be using paid search in Google. Google introduced a new targeting program about a year back called Remarketing. This technology has been around for quite a while, about 5 years or so, and most other people, or excuse me, most other ad networks call it retargeting campaigns. The basic concept is when a visitor comes to your website and then does not purchase or doesn't perform some type of action that you want them to do, they get placed into a bucket. Google then allows you to show targeted ads to everyone in that bucket as they browse the web. This program is really, really a great way to reach new customers, obviously, who did not convert, who abandoned your cart process or maybe left the site without signing up. But it's also a great method to reach existing customers. You can use it to upsell customers who just purchased your product, or you can use it to alert customers about the special event that is coming up, or a new product introduction. It's really a great tool to communicate. Using our golf store example, let's say we're getting ready to have our annual spring sale coming up. With the Google Remarketing program, we could show ads to our customers highlighting the great deals that we're going to be offering in our spring sale. And the cool part about this is these ads would only go to customers who've been to our site and have done some type of action that we chose on our site. So it's a really, really cool program. All right, so how does Google Remarketing work? The program is based on cookie technology. If you're not familiar with cookies, it's basically a small amount of code that is placed on a customer's browser, web browser like Internet Explorer, when they visit your site. Google produces this cookie code for free for you. So all you have to do is once you have it created inside the Google system is just grab that code and place it on your site. Once it's there, it's going to start building a population for you to market to. The really cool function here is that you can produce multiple cookies. So for our golf store example, we could create one cookie in Google's system for our golf club page, a second cookie for our golf shoes page, and a third cookie for our golf clothing page, and so on. And so by having those separate buckets, or those separate cookies that create those separate buckets, we now have that capability to target these people with different types of promotions and offers. Could be about the, some on the golf club page. It could be a better or bigger or new golf club, or we could show them only golf balls or golf clothing or golf shoe ads. So it's really, really cool. And also, You can also exclude people from seeing particular ads based on those cookies. So, so if we don't want to market to any customers who bought in golf clubs, we can block that particular person from seeing any ads for our spring sale. So you just have lots of different controls. So let's take a look at an actual example here. The car manufacturers were some of the first advertisers to embrace remarketing technology. They really liked it right out of the get-go and really understood it. This is an example of a new customer. So basically, I went to the Chevy.com website. I was cruising around, and I started going into a particular model, which was the Chevy Tahoe. When I went to that page, the Google remarketing system placed a cookie in my browser. You know, I had to leave for whatever reasons. So as I left, and obviously I didn't buy a car, as I left and started cruising around the web, I started seeing this Chevy Tahoe banner here, as you can see in the red box. This is an example from the Yahoo Autos page. So Chevy was able to target me as a potential customer who was interested in the Chevy Tahoe, and now they're starting to show me different Chevy Tahoe banner ads. So it's really a really cool way of targeting people who did not purchase or are looking for more information about your product. There's obviously lots of ad clutter in the world today, and so you can easily get sidetracked when you're looking for something. So the remarketing program helps give you that second chance to kind of market to that person again. The next example here is for Verizon. The cell companies are very big in remarketing as well. Here I logged into my Verizon account page, and then as I left and started to go to different sites, a Verizon banner here in the red circle started following me. They had a couple different banners. There was also banners for Bluetooth earpieces and new batteries and all different types of accessories for Verizon. So you can see the remarketing program is really a cool opportunity for you to reach out to both new and existing customers. A key thing I want to point out too is that the Google remarketing program specifically is great for small business owners because you can start a program with no minimum buy. And that's, when I say buy, I'm referring to an ad buy. That's huge because most ad networks require a $5,000 or $10,000 minimum purchase of advertising before they'll run a retargeting program. You know, with the retargeting program in Google, you also control the costs. If the campaign's not working, you just hit the off button and turn it off. It's really a complete self-service program. You know, you control the bids similar to how you would your paid search program, and you upload the different types of creatives that you want. It's completely self-service. You know, for the most part, Google's system does all the work here. You just basically request the cookie, and then basically place the code on your site, and then the program's started. To get more information on this Google remarketing program, Google has a great video to help guide you through this process. The video shows you kind of how the concept works, as well as how to set it up inside your Google AdWords program. And again, Google AdWords is their paid search program. So if you don't have an account, you know, go to Google AdWords and learn about it, and definitely start it because paid search is a great method. All right, let's talk about our next topic here, which is going to be how to use social media to contact our existing customers. So obviously, everybody's seen social media in the news headlines recently, and it's kind of burst onto the online marketing world in a huge way over the last couple of years. And specifically for customer support and retention, this social media is probably only going to grow. It's really a great way to reach and listen to your existing customer problems. You know, in the old days, if a customer had a problem, they would probably tell 5, 10, maybe 20 of their friends to not use your product or your company due to this particular problem. But now with social media, they really can ramp up, and they have a much larger, customers have a much larger voice. If they have a bad experience with your company, they can, pretty much almost instantly tell hundreds or even thousands of people about that bad experience. And so they have a much more powerful voice than they did, previously. So how do we avoid big social media disasters? You have to be proactive and be looking and listening in social media for your company name. And when I say proactive, I'm not referring to hiring a special person or a lot of extra costs. It's really just time to manage this process. Small businesses can probably get by checking the social media sites one time a day or maybe even one time a week. The real issue is just starting the program and start listening. And the cool thing is, this isn't a hard process, in terms of listening in the social media channels. There's a ton of free services out there to help you monitor and listen to for your company name. Some of the free services are Google Alerts. You can set up your company name and have an email sent to you every day with any type of mention that Google finds of your company name. SocialMention.com works great for checking message boards and Twitter and Facebook. And also Hootsuite is a great tool for keeping tabs on your brand name or company name in Twitter as well as in Facebook. And really, once you start your social media program, you'll probably be amazed at just how simple, or some few simple responses to your customers, specifically ones who are upset, can help turn the tone of the conversation. Just listening to your customers and providing an ear for them to vent and hopefully you can respond to their problems can go a real long way with your customers. And that's helping them, that will help turn them in to becoming a brand advocate for your company. So hopefully they can go out and find other new customers for you by talking about very good things about your company. Okay, so let's look at some social media examples here. This first one involves our Stamps.com Facebook account. The U.S. Postal Service introduced a new product here in January called Priority Mail Regional Rate Boxes. Unfortunately, we weren't able, Stamps.com wasn't able to get this new feature included in our January update with the software. So we weren't able to include this new product in the software for our customers. The top comment here circled in red is a request from a customer for us to add this new regional rate feature to our software. Once a person commented, additional customers started adding to the original comment, stating they too would like to see these regional rate boxes added. So the big square at the bottom is our Stamps.com team responding, saying, "Hey, we acknowledge your request, and we're going to be working on it in the future." So we're acknowledging these customers' requests basically and saying, "Hey, we've listened, and we're going to try to work on it as fast as possible." One key point I want to bring up is that prior to social media, we may not have understood how important this regional rate features, or regional rate boxes, how important they were to our customers. Our only form of feedback, prior to social media would have been from customers calling or emailing our customer support team. And so usually customers only contact our support team when there's a problem or when there's something significantly wrong with their software. So social media really allowed us to see how important this regional rate box issue was, and more importantly, it gave us the ability to react and get the process moving to introduce the product to our software, which here we hope to have done in about a couple more weeks. Our next example here involves our Stamps.com Twitter account. This example is very important because it showcases that if you're not listening to your customers, your competitors probably are. And obviously that's a huge issue. And once your competitors are listening and if they're responding, it gives them the opportunity to steal your customers away from you. This top tweet shows a customer who stated that they had recently moved from a postage meter to Stamps.com, but they now are encountering problems with their software. Notice that in the red box here, Pitney Bowes, our competitor, actually beat us to the punch and contacted the customer directly to uncover what the problem was they had with their original postage meter. Fortunately, we also were quick to act and were able to respond to the customer and get them to contact our tech support to resolve their issue. So fortunately, we were able to have a very happy customer here, and we didn't lose them. But the real moral of the story here is that if you're not listening, your competition definitely is, I should say, and it gives them low-hanging fruit to steal customers away from you. So I think this is a great example of why you should definitely be listening out there in the space. All right, our final topic today for contacting existing customers is direct mail. With the explosion here of online marketing over the last couple of years, as well as the recession that's occurred since 2008 or even 2007, direct mail has taken a bit of a back seat. But it still is a great method to reach your customers. In fact, Stamps.com's #1 source of new customers is from our direct mail campaign. Here we are an online company, yet we're still using this great medium to reach new customers. But besides new customers, it also can work great for existing customers and expanding revenue. Direct mail offers great targeting ability to find only customers that have purchased specific items or services from you, since you have that data in your database. It also has a very unique ability to get a physical item with your company's message in the hands of your customer. That's something that that TV and radio and even online media cannot do. If TV and radio, once those commercials or radio spots are played, it's over. There's nothing else for the customer to hold on to. And similar to online media, if they see a banner ad, once it's over, they've gone to a new page, they might not see that banner ad again. And so with direct mail, you can definitely get something in some type of communication into your customer's hands, and that carries a lot of weight. It can really make a big difference. Let's kind of maybe go back here. Let's go back to our golf store example. If we have a sale coming up on women's golf clubs, using direct mail would be a great option to send a flyer or a postcard to all the women who've purchased from us over the last year. By using this segmentation or targeting, we're able to keep our costs down low on direct mail, and more importantly, we're able to pinpoint our core target audience by getting a physical direct mail piece in their hands, so they're able to really learn about our promotion and understand it. Direct mail also it provides very easy tracking, similar to online marketing. You're able to, via your direct mail piece, you can guide a customer to a special web page or have them call a special phone number. There's just tons of opportunities to track exactly how much revenue is being generated from that campaign. And when it comes to cost, too, marketers assume direct mail is expensive, but there are ways to keep costs low. The postage is pretty much the main cost in direct mail. And the U.S. Postal Service offers some great discounts on using pre-sorted mail or using carrier route rates, which is, like, say, blanketing an entire zip code or something like that. So there really are some opportunities to keep costs low. Also, there's no rule that you have to send out a big amount of direct mail. You can always start by sending out a few personal letters to a select group of your VIP customers with a special offer. So it doesn't mean you have to send out 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 direct mail pieces. You can always start small and kind of work up from there. So it's a great opportunity for you. Okay, let's talk about some tips to make direct mail work. The first tip is to include an expiration date on your offer. Expiration dates create a sense of urgency for your customers to act now and make that purchase. You know, it's amazing. This is a pretty common tip, but it's amazing to look at the direct mail you get at home and see how many people forget about adding an expiration date to an offer. So it's you know, a really important thing to remember. And also, you also want to remember to make sure you give enough time for your expiration dates to work. Keep in mind the U.S. Postal Service will have your direct mail piece in their mail stream. Could take a couple of days, maybe even a week, depending on the class of mail you're using. Make sure you're giving the customer enough time to look at your direct mail or your offer, and make sure they have enough time to act on it. Sometimes people can kind of cut the expiration dates very quick, hoping to get sales to occur faster, and it can have a reverse effect because customers don't have the time to actually think about the offer and then actually act on it. The second direct mail tip is to always be testing. You know, you never will know if your offer is doing well unless you have something to compare it against. So you can test different offers, or you can test different headlines. It's just good to always be testing. The Google Direct Mail piece here to the right shows a $100 offer. When I first received this mailer about a year or so back, the offer only had a $50 offer on it. So I'm sure through their tests they've found that the $100 offer has been performing better, because since I've gotten that $50 offer, I've received probably 5 or 6 of these direct mails with the $100 offer since. So clearly the $100 offer appears to be winning. The third tip is in cost. You know, postcards are only 28 cents to send versus 44 cents for a regular letter. So you can mail 15 postcards roughly for the same price as 10 regular 1-ounce letters. You know, postcards obviously don't have as much real estate on them, but they're a great opportunity and low-cost opportunity to get started, and it gives you the ability to test different types of messaging. The fourth tip is to test personal URLs, which are also known as PURLs. A PURL is basically a micro website that's created with just one person in mind, the recipient of this specific direct mail piece. The whole program is database driven, so it's a little bit more complex to implement and a little bit you know, higher level of a program. Basically, though, it will insert personal information when you click on this PURL, and such as in your name or wherever you're based out of, or your geography, or your previous purchase habits, things that you like. Basically, this PURL will include all that information on this personal web page. I recently received a direct mail piece, and you can see an example of a PURL by going to letthemguideyou.com/Eric Nash. And when you go to that page, you'll see that I think it says a big welcome Eric Nash on it. And it has some interesting stuff in there, so I would highly suggest you check it out. Research has shown that direct mail pieces using PURLs can really improve response rates. You know, they also have a secondary benefit, is that they're a great lead generation tool for your sales team. Because when people click on this PURL, it's stored in the database, and so you can log in each day and see who of your direct mail recipients has actually clicked on their PURL. And so you can see who's clicked on it, and then have your sales team follow up with that person, because they obviously were interested enough to click on the site. So it really works to be a great lead generation tool as well. As another vote of confidence here for direct mail, I just wanted to point out that, you know, some of the largest online companies like Google, Yahoo, and Netflix all use direct mail for both new and existing customers. This example of Google here to the right, you know, it's a perfect example of them mailing out a direct mail piece, and you're going to be in good company when you're using direct mail. So don't forget this great medium. All right, some self-promotion here. I just wanted to let you guys know that Stamps.com can really help you get started in direct mail. You know, we offer some really cool features such as logo net stamps. This is basically a postage stamp that will include your company logo or image on it. It gives you can see here in the example, Tina Stone CPA, it gives you about an inch by inch area to include a 4-color logo or image. It basically helps you get your mail piece, helps it stand out from your other mail that a person's receiving. We have a lot of realtors that use it. We have the movie companies here based in Los Angeles who have used it, where they put like the opening date of their particular movie or different characters. It's a really cool feature and not too expensive either. Also, Stamps.com is integrated with Microsoft Word and Outlook. So, many small businesses keep all of their contact data in Outlook or so maybe in a Word document. So you can easily do a mail merge with Stamps.com and print your envelopes with the address and postage on them in one pass. And as you look here, here's an example of the return address, the delivery address, and the postage all in the envelope. It really creates a nice professional look. And you also have the ability to include a logo, too, up in your return address. We also have a PC postcard product that allows you to print postage and address, the postage and the address on 4 or more postcards at a time. This product is basically cut up in 4s, and you can print the postage and the address on one pass, and then you can take that piece and go and use your regular copier or printer to print your offer on the back. So it's really a cool way of sending out postcards. You can do it very quickly. I mean, if you happen to generate a cool offer or message that you need to get out, using these PC postcards would give you the ability to get a postcard campaign out literally in hours. So it's really a cool feature and definitely something that can help you get started in direct mail. Okay, I think that's the end of my prepared presentation today. Let's go into some questions here. Let me take a look here at some of the questions. All right. Here's a question from Jenny, and she's asking, is there a best practices for subject lines in terms of character limits in emails? And yes, absolutely. Character limits are very important because if you have too long of a message, A, it's not going to show up in your email program. You're not going to be able to read the whole message. And then B, also, this could trip a spam filter and automatically send your email into the junk box. So you really want to focus on not having your subject line be over 50 to 60 characters long. Otherwise, you're going to be getting too many characters in there, and it could cause a problem. All right, let's see here. Linda is asking, where can I find instructions on setting up a Google remarketing program? This is a great question, and like I said, I really suggest at least investigating the Google remarketing program. Really, the whole program is based in your paid search account inside Google AdWords. So you can go into any Google AdWords campaign that you have set up, and then on the right side of when you log into or when you click into a campaign, on the right side you'll see a tab that says Audiences. Click on that Audience tab, and that will guide you through the method of establishing and building your cookie. And then once you have that cookie, just put it on your site, and then Google does all the work from there. So it's a pretty simple process. Really the toughest part is coming up with different creatives and coming up with suggestions there on your side. All right, let's see. Bill here is asking, he's got a great question about business cards. He's saying without someone consenting digitally here, how is it that a business card is safe to send an email to with CanSpam laws? And that's a great question. Submitting, it's a little bit of a gray area for CanSpam. What some legal experts that have told us at least is that what you want to do is keep all the business cards that people would give you for sending email to, if you're going to send email to them. And a good thing might be is to write a date on the back of them. Say you were having a drawing for free appetizers or free dinner. You'd probably want to, and that drawing was on March 31st, you'd probably want to keep those business cards, put a rubber band around them, and put them in a file, and just say, hey, these came from March 31st drawing. That way, if anybody who had a problem and didn't remember signing up and maybe tried to challenge you about legally about signing up for your list, you could go back to them and say, hey, here we have your business card. Someone put this business card into the fishbowl for a prize, and that's how we got it. So you definitely want to keep those for kind of a paper trail. All right, let's see. It looks like Ron is asking, why is it that some emails I receive are so hard to read? Even big companies have emails that look terrible, and I don't see much. This is also a great question, Ron, because this really is the science of email. It really comes down to your email creative. And what happens is you want to have a nice presentation, and so you want to include images. But most email programs turn off images by default. So it's really important to include some text in the top of the email, what they call above the fold, above the preview pane. You want to keep some text up there so that your recipient can understand what they're looking at and reading, and not have to rely on a big empty space because the image is taking up that big empty space. One method is if you do have a big image up in the top portion of your email, what you can do is include a text line directly above it. A lot of people will use the subject line right above the main image in their email creative, and that lets the viewer know what's inside the email and what they're going to see and open if they show images. So at the very least, include that text line. But this is really where creativity comes into play, and really testing. Some people swear by including big images. They say they get way more conversions by having a very image-heavy email creative. Other people will say the exact opposite and say they see the best results with text. Every audience is different, so it's really just a matter of testing to find the best option for you. All right, let's see. Let's get some other questions here. Some people are asking about if they can access the webinar here, and yes, this is going to be recorded, so we'll get an email out to everybody later today or the next couple of days here, and you'll be able to view the view the webinar recording. Here's a good one by Raymond. He's asking, is it okay to use email addresses found on a customer's website for his marketing? And Raymond, this is a great question because it does involve the CanSpam Act. One area we did not talk about in CanSpam was what's called harvesting. CanSpam has made it illegal to harvest email addresses from other sites. And the reason is because if someone's email address is on another site, they have not given your company consent to send email to them. And so I would say no, it's not okay to include them on your marketing email. If you wanted to take that person, that just one email address, and send them individual emails from, say, your sales team, saying, hey, I saw your email or your contact info on XYZ site. I'm really interested in doing business with you. That's a whole different deal. You could certainly do that, and that would not be affecting CanSpam. CanSpam really is about mass email delivery, and so one-to-one email communication does not go into there. But I certainly would definitely say that finding email addresses and including them into your email list from other sites would definitely be blocking or violating the CanSpam Act. All right, let's see. Let me see if I can get some other questions here. Here's one from Jim, very similar to this last question. He's asking, can we use a purchase list of emails to market to realtors if we follow the rules in CanSpam? Jim, this is a great question, very similar to the last question. I think the big difference here is most people who rent out their email lists. They're not necessarily selling them. I'd be very wary of people who are selling lists. So say Realtor.com as an example. They obviously have a lot of realtors who are posting different properties on their site, and they have a lot of contact information. I know they provide this list of reaching out to realtors in a rental basis. So in that sense, they are sending the email out for you. So you would provide your email creative to Realtor.com. You would also include a suppression file. A suppression file is is a list that's made up of all the people who've unsubscribed from your email list. CanSpam wants to make sure that if you've unsubscribed from a company's email, you don't ever receive email from that person again. And so that same person could be on the Realtor.com list. So the suppression file would block that person from receiving your email. So most companies will rent their list. You would provide them with your creative and your suppression file, and they'll send it on your behalf. There are companies that are out there that do sell lists. A lot of that will come down to the privacy policy on the site that the person signed up on. Even if the privacy policy was stated they were going to sell the data or share the data, usually consumers forget that or don't necessarily read the privacy policy, so they can still flag you and create problems for you on CanSpam. They may not win the legal case, but still they can create a lot of headaches for you. So I would really highly suggest never buying any type of lists from any vendor. They usually are made up of pretty junky data. You'll probably end up having a ton of hard bounces, or they'll be made up of people who have no interest in your product or even your category. There'll probably be a lot of consumers. If you're selling a B2B product, say, it may not even be applicable for you. So I'd really be hesitant in buying a purchase list. All right, let's see if we can find some more questions here. Here's a good one by Jacqueline. She's asking, who develops the banner ads for the Google Remarketing program? And Jacqueline, that person would be your creative team, or you supply the creative into the Google Remarketing program. So it'd be like your site developer or someone who's developing, advertisements for you, some type of creative designer or graphic design firm. For banner ads, there's a ton of very cheap options out there. We'll send you a list of different companies that would work. Most of them will create either a creative in either Flash, which has lots of bells and whistles to it, or lots of animation, I should say, or they also will create just static banners, which are either JPEGs or GIFs. So there's lots of opportunity out there. Okay, looks like one last question here. Looks like Liz is asking about Stamps.com new customer webinars, and yes, Liz, we do have one every Wednesday. When you log into the software, you should be able to see a banner ad for our new customer webinar, but it's every Wednesday. And we'll get a link out to you so you can sign up for that. All right, I think that's about time, all the time we have for today's webinar. If we didn't answer your questions yet, we'll be responding to you via email later today. And also, as I mentioned before, this webinar is being recorded, so we'll be sending you a link to the recording via email here in the next couple of days, and maybe even sooner. I want to thank everybody for attending today's webinar, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks a lot for attending.